Okay, this is going to be part 7 of the 2021 Wolverine videos. In this video, we're going to install the Yamaha front door speaker pods made by SSV Works. You have to buy the whole stereo system from Yamaha. You're not allowed to buy the speaker pods separately, and all I needed was the speaker pods, but I bought the whole thing. So let me show you what you get in the kit. When you open the main box, there's 2 boxes and each contain a SSV Works speaker pod. They feel like injection molded plastic. I'm not sure if they're fiberglass or plastic. I'd have to open it up to really see, but it might be plastic. They come with a waterproof 6.5-inch speaker. Terminates into a wire with a grommet to go through, I guess what you'd call the firewall, with a plug. Luckily, these plugs are the same Yamaha plugs that the Wolverine and the other Yamaha side-by-sides have behind the dash with the power plugs. So the same plugs that are there are these, so it'll be easy to make extensions for this with speaker wire. Now, besides the 2 boxes having the speaker pods, there's a small little box in there, and it's got the SSV Works stereo control panel. And then there's another box, this size box right here, and inside there you'll find a cell foam insert with the brain unit with all the wiring on it. It's a pretty simple system to install. It's all plug and play. So you get the brain, you get all the wiring harnesses that you could need to do the whole install. You get a remote USB jack to go in the glove box opening. And this is on the Wolverine X2, by the way. The same system is for the RMX, but the install is just a little different. You get an AM/FM radio antenna, 2 packages of tie wraps, 1 package of, looks like little bolts with snap nuts, and then you get some, I think these are M16s. Oh yeah, you also get replacement, the little push-in panel holders for the stuff. So you get all replacements for those on the doors. But I took them out perfectly and don't need any of those, so I'll explain that to you. Now, there's a separate part number, and this is for all that comes in this box is a metal bracket and 4, looks like stainless steel screws, maybe 3 screws, 3 stainless steel screws. That's all that comes in that box for $40-some odd. That's what allows you to mount the brain behind the dash of the Wolverine X2, and I'll show you all about that, even though I'm not going to use any of that stereo stuff. So that's everything that comes in the boxes, plus you get your instructions, of course, which are, I'd say they're half usable. At the top of the instructions it says, for 2021 Wolverine RMX2, RMX4, X2, and X4. But the pictures they show you under the hood are of the larger RMAX, not even remotely close. They show you the dash to the RMAX, and we'll get into the biggest problem is that the instructions tell you to pass the speaker wires through the pre-made hole, and I guess they neglected on the 2021 X2s to make the hole through the firewall. So we'll show you that. Now what I've done is I have already done the passenger side. Let me see if I can get you can see it over there. Maybe you can. I've already done the passenger side speaker, so I know how easy it's going to be. And what I'll do now is I'm going to shut the camera off, and I'm going to try and get a good position for you guys to watch me do the driver's side, and we'll go over everything. So okay, I'll be right back. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to take off the inside door panel. To do that, you're going to need a 4mm hex head, and I'm going to use the impact wrench to get them off, but only off. When you put them back on, do not use that. It's way too easy to over tighten with this. So this is fairly simple. I believe that that's all of them. And now we'll move on to the push-in clips. Now, the push-in clips, if you have a tool like this, you can get them out pretty easy without damaging anything or making marks on the panel. I'm going to lower the camera now and we'll see if I can get it in closer for you, because I want to show you the easy way to get these out so that you don't ruin them. I mean, the kit comes with them, but it's nice to know how to get them out without ruining in case you need to go in there again. And alright. So let's move this right over to this one. We'll go down a little lower. Put this right here. Okay. So we've got one right there above the door latch. All you do is push on the panel a little with your thumb, and that'll get you a little area underneath to work with. And just get this thing, and it's important to have the right size one of these. And I just slowly work it, and I do not apply a lot of pressure to the plastic as I'm doing it. Once I get a good grip on it, I try and do it without touching the panel, or I move it around just a little. And it doesn't take much pressure to get them out, because I don't want to mark on my panel. Now, what I saw on the other side, the same thing I see here. They made more marks at the factory than you'll make. Okay, so you can get them out, and when you do get them out, they're perfect. You can use them again. There's nothing wrong with them. A couple of the ones down on the bottom, I'll show you. When you get low, they have a couple of them that are recessed into these areas. This one's going to be impossible to get out with this, but I'll show you what we can do. So we get out that first one. There's one down here. I don't know if you can, let me see if you can see me right there. Yeah, you should be able to, yeah. Okay, this one here was fairly easy to get out. It wasn't too difficult, on the other side at least. Let me see what we got here. Once you get that one edge and you can get under it, you're pretty good. There we go. And again, no marks on the panel, and it comes right out. Okay. We have one up here in the center. Now on this one, same thing. You push, and I can already see the space for it to go right under. Okay. And then this one, same thing. Comes out, no marks. Okay. Now this one here at this location comes out fairly easy. Now sometimes I just pull on it as opposed to going against the panel. And other than my foot marks from getting in and out and being inside while it's driving, that one's out. Now we'll do this one up here. Again, we push in on the panel, which gives us a little access point, and that one came out like butter. Okay, so now we've got them all out except for this one. And what I found on the other side was once that one's out, if I put my hand underneath this panel and I just kind of pull a little, that one comes right out easily. So now the panel's ready to come off. So let me move this back a little bit. Okay, now the problem with getting the panel off is going to be your door handle. And I'll show you why. Once you get it out from under, just go along. This one over here is a little tougher to get out at the top section. But once you get all that out, Now all it's holding it on is the door panel, the door handle. And there's not much, like on a car, when I used to do car starters, you would just open up the door handle and you could slide it right off. But the way they've got this, the dash is in the way. So what you really need to do is, you kind of need to bend the panel almost like a U and slide it so that it doesn't hit the dash, and then you can get the panel off. So we'll go put the panel on the bed here. Okay, so there's your inside. So now we're going to put the speaker pod into it. Speaker pod goes in really easy. Alright, let me grab what we need for that, and we'll be ready to go. Alright, you need to take out one existing bolt, which is right here. I think it's 10 millimeter. They're all 10 millimeter, right? Everything's 10 millimeter. Alright, so we take this one out. Get the speaker pod. Okay, so now I'll put this in here. I'm going to stick the wire through there. We're going to put this up here. And then once we get this first one in, that'll hold it. So you put that factory screw back in. Make sure it's in there. That'll hold that in. Now I'm getting the M6 16 screws that came with the kit. That's these. And you'll want to put the washers on them. And then we're going to do the same thing. We are going to just get them lined up. Trying to do this from this side so you guys can see everything. So it's probably easier to do this with. Let me grab this here and we'll do it. You know, you do this on your own, take some pictures, everything works out great. You start to do it on the video and the screw doesn't want to go in. And tell you what they did do, they put the thread lock on these already, which makes them go in much harder, and they put the thread lock right down by the end, so they start being hard to put in almost immediately. So let's check here. And again, I only use the impact driver when I'm doing the removal. You never want to use the impact driver when you're putting any of this stuff in. Even though these go in tight because of that thread lock, you still never want to use the impact on these. Now, as soon as we get done with this, we'll put the panel back on, and then we'll get to the hole that you have to make because Yamaha didn't make it like it says in the instructions. So that's something that we're going to have to make ourselves. And it's funny, you know, SSV Works makes this for Yamaha. So when I saw that there was no hole cut, I called up SSV Works and asked them, hey, there's no hole on the Yamaha like the instructions say, so what's the proper hole for that grommet size that you're using? I don't want to go too big. And SSV Works said, I don't know. Which I found funny considering that they build the system, but they said it was in conjunction with Yamaha, but they must still know about that. So, alright, now this is where it gets, where you have to bend the panel again. Okay? Because you got to get it through this. And it's not easy. Oh wait, we got to take off this too. I got to pop off the little disc. It's not easy to get back on. Like I said, the door only goes so far. Let's try it. Can we bend it this way? Nope, you have to bend it out. And I'm doing this on video because this was the biggest pain in the butt of the whole thing, was this. So I want you to see it's pretty difficult to get it on. There we go. I'm not a big fan of like stretching and bending the panels. And this one is the hardest of the sections to get back in. Come on. There we go. So that one gets over, and then the rest pretty much go in pretty easily. Okay, so now we'll get the screws for that. We'll get all these in. I have to say, you know, I worked on cars for many, many years, doing all kinds of custom stuff, and back in the early days when I would work on American cars always, where the screw went in, there was like a big slot so you could move things around to make everything fit good. You'd work on a European car, and there was a hole, and right behind it was where the screw was supposed to go into. You worked on Japanese cars, there was a hole and a screw where everything went into. And the Yamahas remind me of the old American cars because there's what's up here? Let's see. It reminds me of the old American cars because there's a slot and the panels can move around, and it's just not a, what do I want to say? It's not that it's not quality, it's just that the fit is just, you know, you figure with all the technology today and all the stuff they can do, to have to make panels that have slots on them so you can move them around for the proper fit, it's kind of bad. But make sure I got all this where it's supposed to be. Here we go. That one's fit in there. I think that is this one the hole? Trying to find that last one. There it is. Have to look for the one with the metal threads because they look very similar to the ones that push through. And we got all the ones that push through out with no problem, so. Alright, so now we can stick all the push-in clips in. The ones that we got out easily. And they don't all line up easily. Again, the holes don't seem to, and it was the same thing on the passenger side, the holes don't seem to line up perfectly with what's going on behind them, which, you know, like I said, in this day and age of computers and CAD programs, and to be so far off is kind of, I don't know, disappointing, to say the least. And that one doesn't even look like it's gonna go in correctly, so. Let's take another look here. What do we got? There we go. Alright, so we've got the door all back together. So let me see where we're looking here. We're gonna go this way now. Alright, so your door's all in, the speaker's in, looks good. This is your wire from the inside, and according to the instructions, there's supposed to be a hole right here, and I can look in there and there's a small, it looks like a manufacturing mark where they were gonna punch a hole through or to let me know where the hole should be, but there is no hole there. So in order to make a hole there, we are going to have to remove, there's a front panel right here, and the way we're going to get that out is that there are two screws. Let me see if I can. They're plastic screws, kind of like the push ones that were on the door, except these have the center that you can unscrew with the screwdriver. And then I'm going to put the little tool behind them. Actually, this one we can just like pull out a little. Alright, so now we're going to get the tool behind it. It's easier if you put the tool behind it and then kind of pull on it while you unscrew it, because what happens is as these start to loosen, the screw no longer turns, the whole thing turns. So now we've got it out and you can see what I'm talking about. It's one of these that you unscrew. Alright, so we've got to take those two out. And then once those two are going to come out, there's just two clips that hold that panel in on the front, so you just got to be careful and get it out. Alright, so now I'm under it. So now I can unscrew it. Alright, we'll go from the other side so you can still watch. Alright, so I get the little panel clip tool. And it's so tight working on these. Come on, there you go. So we get that unscrewed to the point where it finally just pulls out. And you can see it right there. Okay, now this tool for the panel clips, this came with some panel clips that I bought on Amazon. So I don't really have a link to the tool. But this one also came with some panel clips, and you see the difference in the heads? This one's not too useful. This one with the angle and the head opening is perfect. Anyway, alright, so we got the two clips out in there. And now the panel we're going to take off, let me get this ready, is right here. And now all we're going to do is we're going to reach under there and kind of pop it. One clip came out and then the other one's down a little lower. These are the clips that were on it. You can see them, 1, 2. Kind of like the dash clips everybody hates when they go to take a dash piece out to work on a stereo. Alright, so now we'll get down here. Let me lower this. And I don't know if you're going to be able to see in there or not. Let's see if I can put this in from this side. Right here, there's a circle in the plastic. And that circle is where the hole is supposed to be. It's nothing you can push through. So what I did was, I used a caliper and I found out what the measurement was of the part of the grommet that would go through. And it's basically 9/16 or 14 point some odd millimeter, maybe 15. But since I don't have a 15 millimeter drill bit, and a 9/16 drill bit is larger than what most people have, although most of us also end up with a 5/8 along the way, 9/16 is not a usual size. So the way I'm going to do this, and I'll show you from back here, is we're going to start with a 1/2 inch drill bit with a non-walking tip. so that this thing will not walk around on there. Now, the other thing I'm going to do is, I don't want this to hit the door or anything else. So I'm going to put my hand by the door and rest it against the frame. And we're just going to start off slow. Speed up a little bit more. Just about through. Okay. We're just about there. Alright, so I've got a center hole started, and the 1/2 hole has started. So I'll look down there again and make sure there's nothing in the way. Yeah, we're good. Okay, so now that I've got it kind of started, I can finish going through. I know it's in the right spot. It's exactly centered, and again, I put my hands in a position because I don't want this drill okay, drill bit didn't hit anything. Coming back out, we're good. So now, I was hoping 1/2 would have been big enough, but of course it wasn't. The plug won't make it through 1/2. And then I was going to use a unibit like this, but you can't get it close to that hole while it's on the end of the drill. So I had one of these extensions for the drill, and I put the unibit on the end of the extension, and I actually just use the impact because it doesn't have to spin that fast or long, so that slides right into the end of the impact. Okay, and I put it in here, and then first I went through one hole. I enlarged it one size up, and then I tried fitting the plug through it, and it doesn't want to go. So then I'm going to go up the next size on the unibit, and if I remember correctly, that one worked perfectly. Put you back here. Again, I always protect the... Okay, so now that's the next size up on the unibit. And I believe that that's the one. Yeah, so that's the one that the plug fits on. And then I just pushed it through. And right behind there, there's some wiring, but it's far enough away. Now, to make it easier to get, I took the hood off and the dash out so I could just reach in there from the other side. And then I got the rubber on the other side, and I just kind of like roll it. I don't know if you can see it rolling. And it goes right in. And it does what it's supposed to do. So now when the door closes, it's fine. So now I'll show you over here what I mean. Okay, what I did over here was I took off the dash portion where you get to those switched leads that everybody uses. Okay, and then you can just reach in behind there and you can feel the wire and you can pull on it. So that is how that goes through. So now this door is complete. It's in. All we're going to do now is we're going to put the panel back on. So you make sure that these tabs go towards the right side, and then you find the top clip and you kind of click it, and then you find the bottom one, which was more difficult than the top one. Alright, we're going to look behind here and see where we are. In fact, let's take the top one back off, and we'll get the bottom one in first since it's a little bit more picky. And And there, those are in. Now we go back to the inside. And we're going to put the plastic tabs back in, but this time they're easy. You just push them in and then push the center in. So you put it in, goes right through the hole, and then just push it, click in. We'll do the, of course I dropped one, let's see. There we go. Okay, and they're in. So that door is completely done. Wires are through the hole. Now, we're not going to talk about connecting the speaker wire on the other side today because I'm not using the SSV Works head unit, amplifier, so I won't be using their harnesses. We're going to do, for those of you that had watched, I made a Android tablet head unit for this that does pretty much everything. That's what we'll be using in here. I'm going to quickly go over with you now how this SSV Works stereo would go in for those of you that are going to buy it and use the factory system. So I'll show you quick. Okay. This bracket right here is going to mount behind your little information screen. You're going to take out the 3 screws. You're going to put this bracket in here like so, and then there's 3 screws it comes with that replace them. Now, I'm sure before you put that in, or I don't know how they expect you to get to it, the instructions aren't that clear for this. But what you're going to do is you're going to mount, and this comes with its own little screws for this, and this whole thing is plastic. I don't have much faith in that as an amplifier. Okay, so you're going to mount this to the bottom like that. Okay, actually, yes, like that. All right, there's how it mounts. And then that's going to sit inside, and it's going to sit on those 3 screws. So that's where that mounts with all your wiring. So I'd probably get all your wiring done and then put this in last. All your wiring is plug and play. You don't have to cut anything. You don't have to, there's really nothing you have to do. The only thing you might need to modify is on the back of the glove box, once you open the door, there's a round hole that you just probably need to punch out. I don't even know if it's punched out. I haven't gone in there yet. But that's where the main unit sits. Okay, now I'm going to take the camera off of here. Okay, now the radio itself, it's pretty simple. It fits right in that lower opening on the Wolverine using those 4 holes to mount it. The panel comes with screws. The only thing you have to do is you have to drill a small hole in the back so that the wires can pass through. And I'll show you the other thing I was talking about. And then in the front here, you see right here? Yeah, you have to drill it. That is where the remote USB goes if you want to plug a USB flash drive, or I don't even know if it uses a flash drive or just charges or how it works, but they're kind of vague. Yamaha is always very vague with their instructions. So if you're going to do the factory system, that is where the brain sits, down in there on that bracket. Okay, that down in there is where that USB jack is going to go. They just want you to drape your AM/FM antenna somewhere in this dash area. And your harness, this is everything. Okay, this runs from the main brain and it goes to the speakers, to the power. It does everything. So really, you don't have to, you're not going to be doing much. There's your antenna, and that's that USB unit I told you about, aux in. So maybe it'll let you play music through it. That's pretty much it. But for today, we're just doing the speaker pods. And that's what I'm going to be using with the Android tablet. I'm waiting right now on the SSV Works subwoofer that goes under the seat. I found out that it's crossed over at 100 hertz and below, which, I mean, I'm not too happy about. I was hoping it was going to be adjustable, but it's already set by them at 100 hertz, so I may need to change that. But I did find out a few other things that I want to confirm when it gets here, and then I'll tell you what I found. But as far as that, today we're done. Part 6, installing the pods, and I'll see you next time.